What is going on, you guys? This is Paul Catrino, and this is DOOP By The River. The Philadelphia Union are back in action against the Chicago Fire, and man,
Paul, what the hell are you doing? This is my show. Get out. Come on, Paul.
Can I keep the scarf?
No, you can't keep the scarf, man. You're not even Colombian. Man, damn, Paul.
Enjoy your show.
Alright guys, this is Parcero Philly, back with you guys, and today we're going to preview the Union vs. Chicago Fire, and that is all coming up next. Done! And welcome everyone to DOOP By The River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union with me at Parcero Philly. And if this is the first time you're tuning in, or if you're returning back, just want to say thank you for tuning in. But please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button for notifications, share this on Twitter, Facebook, email, whatever you got. Share this on anything to help me grow soccer here in Philadelphia. And today's DOOP By The River, guys, we have a very special guest joining us to preview this match. Paul, I guess you can come back out here. Guys, welcome my special guest here today, Paul Catrino. Paul, thank you for joining me today.
What's going on, man?
What's up,
Thanks
brother?
for having me.
No, thank you, man. Paul, I mean, for the fans, just give us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? What do you do? Anything.
Well, I try to do everything, but one thing I have,
for sure.
Yeah, one thing I have been doing for a good portion of my life is covering the Philadelphia Union.
That's right.
I started about half a decade ago, really getting into the actual journalism and the formal process of going to games, interviewing players and stuff. But I've been a soccer junkie my entire life, and I was one of the first people to sign the petition to make the Sons of Ben a thing.
Wow,
and,
how old were you, Paul?
oh my God, I was
14,
just
15.
starting high school.
Yeah, oh my God, and you really knew about that.
Yeah. My cross country coach actually told me, he's like, yo, Philly's about to get a team, right?
Okay, so you, because this is interesting, because you as an American, you were born here, you grew up here.
Mm-hmm.
What intrigued you to soccer first, and second, what intrigued you about the Philadelphia Union?
Well, I mean, it was all that I was good at, sports-wise. When I say I try everything, I tried every sport across the book. In high school, I actually played 7 different varsity sports, and I couldn't. No, it was tough, man, because it was like, if I didn't enjoy it, I wasn't going to keep doing it.
That's true.
And soccer is actually something that I fell out of love with when I got to high school, because it was a very highly politicized thing, and I didn't realize how petty it could actually be. So I tried other stuff, but when I heard Philadelphia wanted a soccer team, I would watch the hell out of that. Yeah, so, I was always watching and stuff, and I got around to games, very early on, and it was fun. It really started picking up when Union and Red Bull started having those, amazing 3-2 games. It was when the intensity picked up of the team actually being, in the league for a while, it started to get real, because you kind of thought that the talent was getting a little better, as compared to now, when we can clearly see when the talent has increased from this team from the year before to now.
Yeah, you're strong, because those 10 years were not easy.
No, it really wasn't.
I commend you, because, honestly, myself, the Eagles really captivated my life from the time I was 8 until maybe 2 years ago when we won the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So the Union kind of were on the back burner for me, but hearing you constantly stuck with it, I really commend you. Right now, 2 years ago for me is when I got on the Union. I was all invested. Union 1, Eagles 2. Sorry, that's just how I look at it. But I really commend you that. Paul, obviously, you and I really got close from the podcast View from the Bridge, which, guys, great podcast, funny podcast. Definitely should check it out. Just give us a little bit about Views from the Bridge. Where can we find Views from the Bridge? Just tell us a little bit about that great podcast.
Well, what's been nice about it is that our few sponsors have been very laid back to the way that we can approach it, and we like to just be ourselves. That's kind of the way everyone should be about this. if you're an individual who thinks that their voice means something, don't try to sugarcoat it or try to, be something that you're not. You find yourself an interesting person, you put your content out there.
Oh, I agree.
We have 4 very different personalities that are on that podcast, and we certainly clash at times, but it's entertaining.
Yes.
It's something. There's substance there because it's not just a back and forth. It's human beings actually trying to make sense of what's going on with a Philadelphia team that was not supposed to still be in first place come middle of August. And
they didn't want to see us in first, but we here.
They really don't, man. They don't talk about it. MLS doesn't talk about it at all.
We're starting to get some buzz from our own city, which is kind of making me happy. I'm a big 97.5 The Fanatic guy. Shout outs to you. Mm-hmm. But, I'm hearing 5 for 5 talk from Gargano. I'm hearing Union commercials on 97.5. So, hearing Philly starting to get on board with us little by little is definitely great to hear.
For sure.
Paul, where can people find you? Like, people need to see these tweets, see these posts on Instagram. Where can we find Paul?
Well, I am at Catrino93, which is Catrino 93. You might as well. I won't say I'm the best at Twitter, but I've been Twittering for a while. You can find the podcast at VFTB Pod. VFTB. My hosts will swear up and down that they get it right every time. We're on iTunes Podcast. We're on Spotify. We have a website. We're part of the Beautiful Game Network, which is a great source of podcasts about soccer all around the country. It's a very good connection of being able to get your info about every single team in American soccer, not just MLS teams. So
that's awesome.
It's definitely nice to be a part of.
Yeah, definitely catch that, guys. I sometimes will make guest appearance on there because those guys are that awesome. So definitely check out Views from the Bridge.
He's a man.
All right, guys. So as much as Paul and I love the Union and we both cover the team very closely, today you can tell we don't have Union gear. That's because we are Philly boys. We are both 5 for 5. We both are repping gear. Obviously, the Birds playing their preseason game against Nick Foles and Jacksonville Jaguars. And my man, Paul, what you got on here today? We got the
shout out to the ghost of Jimmy Butler for giving us one really good season.
Thank you for that, Jimmy.
Shout out to Step Over Tees, the guys over at the podcast.
That's a dope shirt.
Some very good pop culture Sixers gear that
shout out to you, Step Over.
Have a place in my bank accounts. Heart that'll never be filled until I have like 50 shirts that I can just line out.
They got a spot in the checkings and the savings.
Yeah, they really do.
And we got my man's got the ill hat on, man. We got the Phillies hat.
Yeah, damn, dude.
Who are getting their ass kicked tonight, by the way. But we'll talk about that another time. All right, as we mentioned, guys, the Philadelphia will be facing off against the Chicago Fire. Now, this is an opponent that we are pretty familiar with as we faced off against these guys about 3 weeks ago down in Talent Energy. And now this time around, it feels a little bit different. They won 2 straight, but then lost this week against Portland 3-2. And those 2 wins that they did have, Paul, they look good, in all honesty. Obviously Houston these days haven't been playing well, but it's still not an easy opponent.
No, not at all.
And then Montreal, we saw them kick our ass 4-0 at Montreal, but then Montreal went to Chicago, and Chicago pulled off that win. It was a tough win. It was a 3-2 win.
Yeah, it was definitely close, and they got a lot of contribution from McCarty in that game, which they haven't really been seeing a lot of this season. Mm-hmm. Nikolic hasn't had the best season at all, but he got on the score sheet in that game too. And when you have a guy like Sapon, man, we know all too well. He's already had 10 goals this season, But one fewer than our leading goal scorer, but still, CJ's a good guy. He's a good soccer player. Won't talk shit on him in that regard.
We love CJ. No, but you know what? For Union fans who are, happy seeing CJ leave, look, CJ, I knew whether he was playing here, Chicago, or even Cincinnati looked like crap right now, he was going to have a good year. If you look at CJ's career, my man has a good year every other year. And last year, he didn't have a good year. I expected him to have a good year this year, but obviously he got traded. But there's just a lot of talent on the Chicago Fire team, but especially up top with the forward. and in the midfield. You know, we talked about Sapong, we talked about Nikolic, we talked about Katai, Mihailovic, McCarthy, like Campos, like the list goes on. I just don't get how so much talent up top, and this team, it's not even like they have trouble scoring goals too. It's not like they're losing shootouts. They're not really scoring that many goals to begin with. Like, I don't get how you can have that much talent and not, you know, be winning games.
It's interesting because they do have above average talent in their midfield, yet they're not able to create a whole lot when it comes to, you know, the actual build-up of a play. Yeah. You know, they don't really build up through the middle. They lure teams in and try to go over the top with their speed, and that's where they get the majority of their chances. Their build-up comes in the final third. And if you can't get to that point, then you're just going to get slaughtered every single game because they are extremely undisciplined. Like you were saying earlier, man, they make a lot of mistakes. And you can't we've learned this year, you can't do it against Philadelphia. Because they really will punish you.
Yeah,
it's bad.
Yeah, I really think that's the root of the problem with the Chicago Fire is this team lacks discipline. This team does not play a full 90 minutes. And that starts with the manager. And Paunovic, you know, he has definitely been on the hot seat this season. I think he is the main reason why Chicago is sitting at the near the bottom of the Eastern Conference when honestly, they should be fighting for that 7th seed.
They have the talent for it. It's almost looking at last year's Philadelphia Union team when they have Doshkal and they finally started to figure things out, and you're going, this team's super talented. Why are they still just fighting to get in and getting bounced in the first round?
Yeah.
It's the same way with Chicago, but it's interesting that Philadelphia, they changed the way they approach soccer in getting rid of Stewart and bringing in Tanner instead of just knee-jerk reaction, fire Jim Curtin. They know that Jim Curtin wants to be flexible with this team. He's never been given that option before to be flexible with the way he can approach games. And now you can see that he's starting to incorporate squad rotation into his lineups. He's switching to the 4-2-3-1, which I would say Sapong would thrive in a two-striker system in playing the diamond. If you were to pair him with someone like Shabilko or Wooten, I don't know, man. Maybe that trade doesn't need to be made. Maybe CJ Sapong is a double-digit goal scorer with Shabilko, and the Union are just running away with this.
Man, you're starting to sound like Sean Grace.
That is a comedy. But it's interesting, you know. Philadelphia, they will make their mistakes defensively as well. We've seen that. I think this is the game where they bring back Austin Trusty. I know Curtin's comments don't necessarily allude to that, but I think this is the game out of the rest of the gauntlet of their schedule where you can confidently throw Trusty into that game and go, this is your chance, dude.
Okay.
Like, you have been entitled to the spot this entire year, and Ariel Collin is just playing better than you right now, and he shouldn't be. Because you have European aspirations, you better show us that you deserve it.
All right, that's interesting. Let's dive into the storyline because I do like that. That goal, no surprise, right? Andre Blake.
Yeah.
Give credit to this brick wall right here. Andre Blake.
Andre right here. Back line. That's interesting. I have starting off to right, Kai Wagner. I have Colin starting there at that center back position, and then I have Elliott and Ray Gaddis. I just hearing Coach in that press conference, similar to what we heard the previous week about Ray Gaddis. I definitely think that with Aurelien Colin, we play at our best only because Aurelien's been there, done that. He knows what to do, and Austin is in his head too much. Like, my man needs to find that confidence back, and it's bad that. Now, the backup spot is not even his. It's between Mark and him. And now they both have to fight it out for a last spot. But it's interesting you think Trusty's going to get that spot.
I think it's a mind game on Curtin and Tanner. I really do, because because Mark McKenzie didn't even start for Steele, you know? It's not between Austin Trusty and Mark McKenzie. Austin knows that he's a better center back than Mark McKenzie. But if that's what needs to be said for you to go, dude, if I'm about to become some irrelevant dude that gets sold in a couple years to some NASL team that, I won't get any credit again, I can't live with myself. Austin Trusty needs to realize that he has the athleticism and the talent to be a very, very good center back. And he's shown that he can be a very good center back. It's the youth mentality at stake here. He's 20 years old. You know, players are always going to get in their head with that young because they don't have that kind of experience to know that this is something you go through and this is something that you can learn to work through as a professional soccer player. I think he's going to figure it out. I really do. I don't have a doubt that Austin Trusty will figure it out, and he'll go on to have a very good career somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, Philly can only keep on to him for so long if he reaches his highest potential.
We have to start selling these homegrowns though. Like, eventually it's gonna happen.
I mean, it started with Derek Jones, man. You know, they got a haul for him from Nashville.
Yeah, it was my bad for what he was doing for us.
But you see these guys like Fontana, you see these guys like McKenzie, who really could be starting somewhere.
Oh yeah.
But it's just everyone in front of him has the spot.
Yeah.
You know, it's not his fault that he's the third or fourth best center back on a team that has 3 or 4 really good MLS center backs. You know, it's
true.
Just
part
of the game.
So you would go Kai, Trusty, Elliott, and Gaddis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, I mean, listen, if Trusty gets back out there, I would love to see it. I want to see the Trusty that we know can play to his full potential out there. Let's move on to the midfield. And honestly, Paul, I was a little iffy who to start in this midfield. Obviously, you know, Preveiw looked good in the last 2 matches. Fabian has looked good, but we got to worry about the injury factor with Marco. That's never leaving our mind.
Mm-hmm.
But I have the same midfield as last week. I got Preveiw, the left shuttle midfielder. I got Medunian at the 6th role. We got Ali, our captain, at the right shuttle, and I got Marco at the tip of the diamond. I feel that's what Jim's going to go with. Jamiro as well. There's no need to rush him. And we're also playing the Chicago Fire. Don't, you know, really need to put Jamiro in there and all.
Nah, it's definitely not a game that I think he needs to start, but I do think he is going to start, given...
I need him for LAFC, that's for sure. I need him for that match.
Yeah. You absolutely need him to be the disrupting force that he is against LAFC.
Exactly.
I do expect him to start though in this game.
You think he starts
I
here?
do. Yeah,
I was
Preveil's going to be brought on
that.
later when it's, you know.
I'm not mad at that. He has been playing good in the last 2 matches.
It's
but
nice
what he
to
does
see because he's never been a guy that has been a progressive offensive player. He's always just been in there to run at guys, contain them, make some interceptions, and just kind of clear it out or make a lateral pass sideways, you know what I mean? But I think Curtin's comments have shown that Jamiro wants to get back out on the field, and I think if that's what he wants, you're going to give it to him. If he knows he's 100%, because the last couple weeks have led me to believe that Jamiro has been like, yeah, you know, I can play. So they're throwing him in these sub roles to come on and really disrupt things near the end of games and kind of create a little bit. He's starting to read the game again at the level where he's making these line-splitting passes and running at running at defenders. But I think this is a nice game to ease him into and say they rest him the next game, you know, which is Atlanta. You've got Atlanta after Chicago?
After Chicago, we got the alumni game, DC, at home.
Okay, and then you've got
LAFC. And then, we have
Atlanta,
DC, Atlanta, LAFC. Sorry, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it's
yeah, you know, you want to work him back into a thing where he's getting 65 minutes. This is certainly one to do so because you're going to be going up against guys who can really create in the midfield to an extent that they're not running right at him and he needs to put a lot in defensively. It's going to be a lot of work down the flanks where he's going to need to mark guys like McCarty and Gaitan who can shoot from distance. And he's got to be that guy to close him out because we know Medunian doesn't want to put in that defensive effort. And hey man.
he has his moments. He had a moment last week that Chris Ramirez goal
oh my good lord,
drove me crazy. But also too, like, imagine like second half, you're tired as it is, and Jim Kirchin brings out Montiero, Elsinho, and Fafa. You're fucked.
You really are.
I mean, those are 3 quality subs. Those are 3 super subs.
Some of the better subs you can find in MLS right now, you know, and they're all getting paid about what they should be getting paid except for Montero, which is great because it now shows that Philly can do that dirty business of filling out a bench with quality players,
Yeah.
while also putting out a first place caliber starting lineup.
Not to mention, we also got Aronson and Fontana, 2 homegrowns on that bench too. My God,
Yeah.
we built a good team here.
Really did.
Let's go to the forwards. I don't see change here as well. I think we'll see Wooten and Shabilko, and what I'm going to be looking for the most is Wooten's got to get his goal.
I was just about to say, this has got to be the game where he gets on the sheet, because his decision making has been a lot quicker now. He knows that Bedoya likes to make those very late runs into the box, so he always has an option there.
His off-ball game is huge. It's not talked about enough. What he does off the ball is so crucial for what we do attacking-wise, for sure.
It's funny to see people call him out as not being worth the DP price of Alejandro Bedoya. And it's like, dude, you're not gonna see it after the game.
Oh no.
What he does on the field. You're gonna watch it during the game and be like, oh wow, Alejandro Bedoya was open, like wide open 6 times in this game. And all it was a matter of just put the ball over into the other side of the... He's got so much space because he's such a smart player. He really is. And that was something that didn't work in the U.S. national team, which is why I was so skeptical of him coming into a DP contract with the Union. But he's only grown on me from the moment he got on this team. I know what he does. I know what he brings to the table. And it's necessary. It's necessary for his forwards to achieve too, especially now that Shabilko's hold-up game is getting better and Wooten is seeing the game at the level where he was able to score way over double-digit goals in the Bundesliga too.
Need you both to get goals here, guys. Both of you.
Hey, you might as well. Why not?
So, Paul, my big thing here is obviously on paper we're the better team. We're in first place. Chicago's like near the bottom. But the crucial part is this: you have to play a full 90 minutes. That to me is going to be the key, because first off, you got to get the first goal. You got to put this team away right off the bat, and then after that, you got to be relentless. Continue with the high press. Continue putting pressure on that back line of Chicago, and play those 90 minutes. And I think if you do those 2 things, there's no reason why we shouldn't walk out of Chicago with 3 points.
Thing is, they do have to play a full 90 minutes, but it doesn't have to be with all their most talented guys. You need to see body language from this team that they want to go out there and impose their will. And if Jim Curtin doesn't see that, he's going to pull someone right off the field, because he stresses that immensely. The Union can't look at themselves as a team that's going to be entitled to the Eastern Conference Final just because they're in first place in mid-August.
We're Philly. We're not entitled to anything in sports.
No, we're certainly not. Everything must be earned.
No.
You must go through fire and brimstone to earn everything.
And the tough part is going to be too is Chicago plays better at home. When they're at home, they look like a better team, and that's going to be crucial. The thing is, we cannot afford nothing less than a win, because with the stretch we have upcoming, we gotta get these 3 points here, because, you know, God forbid if we draw or lose to DC or Atlanta or LAFC or NYC at the end of the season, this has got to be a win here, in my opinion.
And you've got the Red Bull rivalry in between them too. You know, nothing is going to be guaranteed for the rest of the season except looking at a playoff matchup where you're the team that has the home field advantage and you're looking down at an opponent going, we have the upper hand here. We're in our stadium. We have our fans here. We've proven for a full regular season that we're one of the best teams in Major League Soccer. And absolutely, this Chicago game has to be a win. There's no excuse for it not to be a win. You have the talent to win this game outright, but you cannot get punished in the 70th minute by this team going over the top and CJ Sapong scoring a goal. You cannot get beat by some low cross rolling up to Dax McCarty and him hitting a 25-yard.
I got one worse for you. What about Fabian Herbers gets a goal on you?
I'll throw up.
I know Herbers.
Herbers almost assisted Sapong in that game about a month ago, and I was standing on my feet. I was like about to celebrate and going, wait, no, they're not playing for us anymore. That would make people sick, because that was a very good Blake save, like a low header that Sapong put on net. I'm going, oh my god, they're about to have like the biggest. They're about to call out everyone in this stadium.
It got a got a little chippy in that game. We got a little.
Yeah,
winner,
it
so
really did.
We luckily got the win there. That was huge there.
Yeah.
All right, Paul. So we talked about Chicago. We talked about ourselves. What do you think is gonna happen? Give me final score. Who wins? Is it a draw? Who loses? It's huge.
3-1 Union.
3-1 Union.
3-1 Union.
Balls out 3-1 Union. You got any ideas who scored the goals?
Unfortunately, since Sapong didn't get his chance to score against us
I can see
in Philly, I think he's going to be the guy to get a goal for Chicago. I think you're going to see one from Casper. You're going to see one from Fabian. I think it's, if he starts, obviously. If not, it's going to come
Quito, I would like that.
very
Gotta go to the
very
last
far
one.
out of left field. I'm going to give it to Wagner
Ooh.
if Fabian doesn't start.
And you know what? He's due for a good attack, like, I guess, offensive game, I guess you could say. Because last week he kind of disappeared in that aspect, so.
Yeah, but he also did his job as
of course.
a defender.
Yeah.
You know, that's really what you ask of him the most.
We've
I
just
mean,
been spoiled with this.
if we were asking for two sides of the coin from a outside back, then Ray Gaddis would have been fired in the sun by now.
This is true. This
You know?
is very true. This is very true. I think that it won't be as easy. It's gonna probably be grind like we saw against Houston. But I got the Union winning 2-1. I see Andrew getting his first goal as a member of the Philadelphia Union. And I'm gonna go Casper. I think Casper is gonna continue his streak. He's definitely a mismatch. So I definitely think we'll see those two get a goal. And I mean, it's hard not to see CJ get a goal here. He's gonna, he wants a goal against us so bad. He definitely didn't want to get traded from Philly.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think that those two will get a goal there.
Nothing about this is going to be easy, but nothing about the Philadelphia Union's schedule has been easy this entire year. Like,
It's never easy.
It's okay to be skeptical of this team. It's fine. They kind of feed off of it a little bit because, in theory, they really shouldn't be resounding favorites in any game because of the way that they approach it. They don't have a DP star. Marco Fabian is not nearly drawing as much attention as he should be, given his level of talent. But that's fine.
Yeah.
Because they embody it, they appreciate it, and the other Philly sports teams are right behind them too. It's really fun to see because, once again, people are treating them like underdogs, but real recognize real. They know that the Union
Can you imagine a blue and gold fall in Philadelphia? We've never had that.
Yeah, I mean, I've dreamt about it numerous times. I would very much like to cover a playoff game
I
that I don't have to drive 500 miles to go see.
I try not to think about it too much because I just want to stay in the now. So, like this is the same mentality I had during the Eagles Super Bowl run. I just want to think about the now and have fun in the now, but it's hard not to think about what Philadelphia would look like if the Union went on a run. Philly has no excuse to run away from the Union at that point if they're making a run in the playoffs.
Especially if the Phillies aren't making a run in the playoffs.
Let's face it, we're
let's
both
get it.
Phillies fans. They're not going to make a run.
You're all excited about Eagles football. So are we. This is going to be so much fun this season.
Yeah, but at the beginning,
week 4 games don't matter.
yeah, exactly.
Really,
We'll wait until week 12. The playoff push starts getting hotter. And you know what? No one's worried about Dallas. No one's worried about the Deadskins or the midgets. Come on. Union is where it's at, guys. All right, guys, but that is our episode here. I want to thank Paul. Paul, seriously, thank you so much for coming in. It was a pleasure having you here.
It's great doing this. This is fun.
In the comments below, guys, let us both know what you guys think about the Union. What do you think is going to happen? And if you want to ask Paul anything, definitely you can ask in the comments below. Or you guys can find Paul on Twitter.
At Catrino93, Catrino.
Or Instagram.
Same exact thing.
Same exact thing. And you can always find myself too on Twitter, Parcero Philly, or at Instagram, L_Parcero_Philly. And please, guys, you like what you see, hit the subscribe button, hit a like button here, hit the bell button for notifications. Help us both grow soccer here in Philadelphia. And until next time, my Libetos, DOOP on.